I never thought a morning could feel like the end of the world. I was sprawled on the couch, coffee cooling on the table, when my phone buzzed. It was a message from someone I didn't expect, Lara. We need to talk. It's urgent. I frowned. Urgent wasn't usually a word she used unless she wanted to surprise me with some grand gesture tickets. A trip. Something extravagant. I smiled at the thought and called her. Hey, love. What's up? My voice tried to sound casual. There was a pause. And then, silence, heavy and uncomfortable. Adrian and I, we've been seeing each other, she said, almost whispering like it hurt her to say it. I froze, Adrian. That superstar with the impossible smile. The one I'd joked about not wanting Lara to meet because I knew what could happen. What? Wait. What are you saying? My voice cracked before I could stop it. I can't do this anymore. I can't be with you. I'm leaving. Leaving? Lara, what are you talking about? We're engaged. I dropped onto the couch, gripping my hair. You can't just... I'm sorry, she interrupted, calm, almost to calm. I've made my choice. Please don't try to change my mind. I need to follow my heart. My heart felt like it stopped. Follow your heart. Was this some cruel joke? You're leaving me. For him? I couldn't even get the words out without shaking. Yes, I'm sorry. I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. Sorry, you're leaving me for Adrian, and that's your apology? It's not about being cruel, she said. It's about what I need. What you need? You mean what you want? I screamed, the voice breaking. Do you even know what you're doing? Do you even think about me at all? There was silence. Then I've thought about it every day, but I can't. Not anymore. I dropped my phone onto the couch, numb. My chest ached, every pulse a reminder of betrayal. I replayed everything, every laugh, every kiss, every quiet evening we shared. Was it all fake? Had I been blind? Lara, I whispered, picking the phone up again. Do you even care what this does to me? I do, she said softly, and that's what made it worse. I really do. But I can't stay. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to punch a wall. Instead, I sank deeper into the couch. Why him? Why now? My voice was hoarse, trembling, because it just happened. It's not something I planned, and I hate that it hurts you, she said. Hurts me. You're leaving me, Lara. You're taking everything we built, everything I trusted you with, and tossing it aside for him. Do you even understand how that feels? I'm sorry, she said it again. That word, meant to soothe, felt like knives. I wanted to call her a liar, to tell her she was selfish, but I was too stunned to even speak. I heard the faint click of the door behind her. She was leaving already, Lara, I said softly, almost pleading. But the apartment was empty except for me and the echoes of her betrayal. I sank further, trying to breathe. My hands shook. I wanted to reach for my phone, to call her, to beg her to come back, but what would I even say? That I loved her? That I trusted her? That I was humiliated beyond repair? I sat there, staring at the door, my mind replaying every memory. The dinners, the trips, the quiet mornings. She'd smiled at me. Had it all been a lie? Had she been playing a part, smiling at me while planning this behind my back? Was I not enough? I whispered into the empty room. The words sounded absurd even to me. How could someone as perfect as her betray me so completely? I tried to remember the last time I felt so powerless. Never. Not in school. Not auditions. Not even when I'd lost small roles. This was different. This was personal. Deeply, completely personal. I paced the room, my hands clenching into fists. The world felt off-kilter, like every color had dimmed. I thought about confronting Adrian, but what would I say? That he stole my fiancée? He hadn't. He just existed. Lara chose him. I sank onto the couch again. My phone lay beside me, silent. I didn't want to call her. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I just wanted to disappear, to pretend none of this had happened. The apartment was too quiet now, the kind of quiet that presses against your chest, suffocating. I touched my face, still warm from tears I hadn't fully shed. I didn't know how long I stayed like that, staring at the door, heartbroken and humiliated. All I knew was that my perfect dream, the life I'd imagined with Laura, was gone, and I had to face the cruel truth. She was never mine to begin with, CHP. 2. I didn't answer my phone for hours. The apartment felt colder without her, even though the heater was on. Every ping from social media made my stomach drop. Headlines, comments, photos of Laura laughing with Adrian. Everywhere I looked, her betrayal stared back at me. Maya, I muttered when my assistant knocked and stepped in. I can't. You can, she said firmly. You just don't want to. I slumped into the chair, my hands shaking. How do I even face people? They all know. Everyone knows what she did. Maya crouched beside me. You're letting her control your life, even when she's gone. That's ridiculous. I feel exposed, humiliated. I can't stop thinking about them together. I hear their laughter in my head, Maya. My voice cracked. I know. But you can't stay here drowning in it. You're better than this. Better? I just got dumped for a superstar, Maya. My fiancé chose him over me. I buried my face in my hands. I know it hurts. And I'm not going to lie, it's going to hurt for a while. But sitting here, replaying it, will get you nowhere. You need to live, to fight, not just rot. Fight. Against what? I don't even know where to start. You start by standing up, she said. By taking one step. That's it. One step. I glared at her. One step. One step in what? She's winning, Maya. She's laughing, living. And I'm nothing. Nothing. You're me. Your talent, charisma, potential, and you're too smart to let her ruin you. I laughed bitterly. Too smart? I thought I was. I trusted her. I loved her. And she tossed me aside like trash. Maya didn't flinch. Then prove her wrong. Not by yelling, not by fighting, by becoming someone she can't touch, someone she regrets losing. I shook my head. I don't even know how I feel. Empty. You're not empty, she said. You're angry. That's energy. Harness it. Her words cut through the haze. I sat up straighter. Harness it. How? Maya smiled faintly. I know someone who can help. Someone powerful, influential. She sees talent in pain, and she knows how to turn both into fire. Who? I asked, skeptical. Alina, director's daughter. You'll meet her tomorrow. I frowned. Alina. Yes, Maya said. Don't question it. Just meet her. She has a way of making people see themselves differently. Trust me. Fine, I muttered. But what if she just sees a broken man? I don't want pity. She won't pity you. She doesn't do that. She'll challenge you. Make you uncomfortable. You might hate it, but it'll work. I ran my hands through my hair. I'm tired of being challenged. Of everything. You're tired of losing, she corrected. And you shouldn't be. The next day, I found myself in a sleek office, the kind I usually avoided. Alina sat across from me, legs crossed, sharp heels clicking against the floor. She looked at me like she'd seen straight through my despair. You're him, she said, almost a statement. I hesitated. Yeah, that's me. And you are? Alina, I've heard about you. You're fragile, aren't you? Her eyes sparkled, teasing, almost dangerous, fragile. Maybe, but I'm not going to crumble in front of you. I don't want you to crumble, she said. I want to see what you're capable of when you stop being scared. Scared? Of what? I asked, heart racing. Of everything, she said lightly. Of being hurt, of failing, of losing. I studied her, intrigued despite myself. And you're not scared? She leaned forward, voice low. I am, everyone is. But fear doesn't get to decide for me. And it shouldn't decide for you, either. I swallowed. Her words felt like a spark in the darkness, a challenge I couldn't ignore. So, what now? Now, she said, leaning back, smirk playing on her lips. Now, you show me what you're made of. you start living. You start taking control. Or you stay here, drowning in memories. I nodded slowly, a strange mix of fear and excitement stirring inside me. Maybe I could stand again. Tomorrow then, Alina said, standing. Don't be late. I watched her leave, the sound of the door echoing in the office. And for the first time in days, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe life wasn't over. Maybe it was just beginning. Are you sure about this? I asked, staring at the sleek black car parked outside. Alina tilted her head, lips curling into that infuriating smirk. About what? Going to meet my father? About finally stepping out of your pity party? I stopped. I don't want to mess things up. I barely know him. I barely know you, she laughed softly, a sound that made me want to groan. You're overthinking. He sees talent when it's in front of him, and you, well, you have talent. I swallowed hard, feeling my chest tighten. Talent didn't feel like enough. Not after Laura, not after feeling worthless for weeks. But her confidence was magnetic, almost dangerous. Fine, I said finally. But if this goes south, I'm blaming you. I'll take that risk, she said lightly. Opening the car door, the studio was massive, filled with the hum of cameras, lights, and people moving with purpose. Alina led me confidently, heels clicking against the polished floor. I tried not to fumble, tried not to feel like an intruder in someone else's world. This is my father, she said, gesturing to a tall man reviewing some scripts. He likes people who challenge themselves. He likes fire, and he doesn't suffer fools lightly. The director looked up, piercing eyes meeting mine. Alina tells me you're someone worth meeting. Am I? I asked, keeping my voice steady. He raised an eyebrow. That depends on you. Are you here to prove it, or just to coast? I shifted uncomfortably. I want to prove it, good answer. His gaze softened slightly. Let's see if you mean it. Lena leaned close as we walked to a side office. See, I told you. He's not going to scare you off, but he will test you. I feel like I'm being tested everywhere these days, I muttered. She tilted her head, eyes glinting. Maybe you are, but some tests are worth it. Dinner later was in a small, elegant room. Candles flickered, casting warm shadows. I sat across from Alina, unsure if my heart was racing from hunger, nerves, or the way she looked at me like she already knew my secrets. You seem different, she said casually, taking a sip of wine. Angrier, stronger. I like it. I don't know if I'd call it strong, I said. Angry, maybe? Bitter, definitely. Bitter is just a flavor of strength, she said, leaning forward. You have to decide what you want to revenge or growth, or both. I frowned. And you? What do you want from me? She smirked, one eyebrow raised. I don't want anything you can't handle. I want someone who can keep up. Someone who doesn't crumble when life gets messy. I felt heat rise to my cheeks. You make it sound like a challenge. Maybe it is, she said softly. Or maybe it's an opportunity, I swallowed. And what exactly is the opportunity? Her eyes held mine, teasing, calculating. I admire your talent, and I think we could do great things. Together, not just professionally, personally too. If you're willing? I blinked. Personally? You're guarded, she said. I can see it. Laura's betrayal left marks, didn't it? My throat tightened. Yeah, it did. I'm not sure I'm ready to trust anyone again. Good, she said, leaning back, smile faint but knowing. I wouldn't want you to trust me blindly. I want you to choose carefully. But I also want you to think about what you could gain. Not just in career, but in life. I felt dizzy, caught between fear and fascination. You're dangerous, I muttered. And you? She asked, tilting her head. Are you afraid of a little danger? Maybe, I admitted. But maybe I'm ready to take it too. Dinner ended, but she walked me to the car, silent for a moment. Then she said softly, almost a whisper, think about what I said. Think about what you want. Don't let anyone make decisions for you again. I nodded, gripping the door handle. Her words burned into my mind, echoing through every doubt and fear. Maybe she was right. Maybe life wasn't about hiding behind walls or regrets. Maybe it was about taking the risk, even when it scared the hell out of me as the car pulled away. I stared at the streetlights flickering past. Alina had introduced me to a world I'd only glimpsed before, and for the first time in weeks, I felt curious, excited, terrified, and strangely. Ready, CHP? For I still can't believe you agreed to this, Alina said, tossing a script onto the table. Her eyes sparkled with amusement, like she knew something I didn't. I needed a distraction, I admitted, rubbing the back of my neck. And you said this project could be big. I guess I'm hoping it's enough to drown out. Everything else? Everything else? She asked, tilting her head. You mean Lara and Adrian? I clenched my fists. Yeah, I don't want to think about them, but every headline. Every post. It's impossible to ignore. Lena leaned back in her chair, smirk teasing her lips. And yet here you are, sitting across from me, ready to work. That's impressive. Impressive. I feel like a mess, I muttered. Heartbroken, humiliated. And yet somehow, I'm here. Good, she said, sharp but approving. You're showing resilience. That's rare, I raised an eyebrow. Or I'm just desperate to avoid crying into a bottle of whiskey. She laughed, the sound light, teasing. Desperate works too. Just don't let it define you. That's what Lara did. She defined you by her choices. You can't let her win that way. I stared at her, surprise flickering across my face. You really think I let her do that? Do it? She leaned closer, voice low. You've been letting her haunt you, but that stops now. You work, you focus, you get stronger. That's your choice. I nodded slowly. Stronger. I can do that. I have to do that. The first day on set was chaos, cameras rolling, lights glaring. I stumbled at a few lines, and Alina leaned over, whispering, not bad, but you can do better. Trust yourself. I'm trying, I muttered, trying to keep my face neutral. You're thinking too much, she said softly. Relax. Feel it. Don't just act it. Her hand brushed mine briefly as she handed me a script. The contact was subtle, electric. I blinked, startled, but she didn't pull away. Just looked at me with that knowing smirk. I'll try, I said, trying not to sound flustered. Good, she said, eyes glinting. That's what I like. Someone who doesn't give up when it gets hard. Days passed in a blur of takes, lines, and long nights. We bickered, laughed, and sometimes challenged each other just for fun. One evening, as we reviewed a scene, I muttered, You really enjoy making me sweat, don't you? She smirked. Maybe, or maybe I just enjoy watching you grow. It's satisfying. I laughed, a real laugh, feeling the tension in my chest ease slightly. You're impossible. And you, she said softly, leaning closer, aren't as broken as you think. I froze, caught off guard. Not broken? Not anymore, she said. You're angry. You're hurt, but you're not broken. You can redirect that anger. Turn it into something powerful. Powerful. I whispered, heart racing. Yes, she said. Ambition, strategy, fire. You don't need to be defined by Lara's betrayal. You define yourself. Her words burned into me. I felt a spark. Something I hadn't felt in weeks. Control. Confidence, even. Hope. Later, during a break, I caught her watching me quietly. What? I asked, smirking. I'm just impressed, she said honestly. You're not just surviving. You're learning, adapting, growing. I chuckled, trying to mask the swelling pride. Impressed, huh? Are you always this? Observant? Only when it matters, she replied. And this matters. You matter. I felt warmth rise to my cheeks, a strange mix of embarrassment and satisfaction. Thanks, I think. Should think more about yourself, she said. You've spent too long thinking about someone who didn't deserve your energy. I nodded slowly. Yeah, you're right. It's time I took back control. By the end of the week, I realized how much I'd changed. The hurt hadn't disappeared, but it had been channeled into something sharper, stronger. I felt capable, focused, even alive. Alina walked beside me as we left the studio one evening. "You've done well," she said softly, glancing at me. "Better than you realize." I looked at her, chest swelling with gratitude and something else, admiration, maybe even respect. "Couldn't have done it without your guidance." She smirked, playful and teasing. "Guidance? I'm just pointing you toward the fire. You're the one who's learned to burn." I laughed, a real genuine laugh. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel like a victim. Unstoppable. And for the first time, I realized that maybe this wasn't just about work or revenge or distraction. Maybe this could be something more. "You ready for this?" Alina asked, adjusting her dress as we approached the gala entrance. "I think so," I said, trying to steady my nerves. I haven't been to an event like this in months. Not since. Everything. "Exactly why you need to be here," she said, smirking. "Confidence is the best revenge, and you have it now. You just need to show it." I took a deep breath, trying to channel the fire she had ignited in me over the past weeks. "Confidence, huh?" "Yes," she said. "And elegance. Charm. You're not the same guy she left behind." I nodded, feeling a strange mix of pride and apprehension. The moment we stepped inside, the room buzzed with chatter, laughter, and clinking glasses. Industry elites milled about, exchanging pleasantries and discreet glances. "Alina, darling," a producer called, waving us over. "You brought someone who's about to change the game," Alina said smoothly. Resting her hand lightly on my arm, I smiled, shaking hands with a few key figures. "It's an honor to meet you," I said, voice calm, measured. "I've been looking forward to learning from all of you." One executive leaned closer, whispering, "You've got a presence. I hear your work on the new project is exceptional." "Thank you," I said, holding his gaze. The compliment warmed me, validation I hadn't realized I craved. I scanned the room and froze. There she was, Lara, draped in designer silk, laughing with Adrian. Every inch the image of the superstar couple she wanted the world to envy. "Alina," I muttered under my breath. "She's..." Here she glanced at me, lips curving into that knowing smirk. "Do what you do best. Watch Dante react. Charm them. Own the room." I squared my shoulders and approached, keeping my face neutral, calm. Lara's eyes met mine, a flicker of surprise, then a coy smile. She raised her glass slightly as if to mock me. "Enjoying yourself?" I asked smoothly, tone measured, public perfect. "Of course," she said, voice light, practiced. "You look different." "I've grown," I said, letting a subtle confidence radiate. "Changed a lot since." "Everything." Her eyes narrowed slightly, and I could feel her trying to read me. Trying to find the weak spot she knew existed months ago. I turned slightly to include Alina in the conversation, letting her presence amplify my newfound aura. "Elena's been instrumental in that," I said casually. "I've learned a lot from her perspective. Strategy, presence, resilience." Alina gave a small, approving nod, and I caught a brief flash of envy in Lara's expression. Satisfaction swelled inside me, quiet and controlled. Karma, I thought. Karma unfolding naturally. "Impressive," Lara said, attempting a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Seems like you've moved on quickly." I raised an eyebrow, calm. "I've moved forward, yes. That's different. Forward doesn't mean forgetting. Forward means growing." Lara's jaw tightened, and Adrian stepped closer, protective, unaware of the subtle shift in the dynamic. "May I?" Alina said, her voice low, smooth. She extended her hand, guiding me gently away. Time to circulate. Meet new faces. Show them the real you. We moved through the crowd, introductions flowing, conversations effortless. Each handshake, each laugh, each subtle compliment reinforced the transformation I had undergone. Heartbreak redirected into ambition. Anger channeled into presence. Vulnerability reshaped into allure. A young director approached, admiration clear in his eyes. "I've been hearing about you," he said. "Your performance on set, remarkable. You've got charisma, skill, and you carry yourself like someone who knows their worth." "Thank you," I said, letting the words settle, enjoying the shift from being pitied to being respected. Alina leaned close as we moved to another group. "Do you feel it?" she asked softly. "That power, that shift." "I do," I admitted, glancing back at Lara briefly. Her smile faltered as our new dynamic became obvious. "It's satisfying. Not the petty kind, the silent kind." "Yes," Elena said, eyes glinting. "That's the best kind of revenge. You don't have to touch her life. You just live yours so fully that she can't touch it anymore." Dada slowly, savoring the thought. "And maybe even find something new along the way." She smiled faintly, knowingly. "Careful what you wish for." I laughed softly, a real laugh this time. "I think I'm ready for it." By the end of the night, I realized how far I'd come. I wasn't the same man who had sat in that apartment drowning in humiliation. I was confident, composed, even magnetic. And as I glanced at Alina, standing beside me, I felt a spark of curiosity. Maybe love, maybe partnership, but definitely possibility. I had taken the first move, and the game had changed. CHP.6, "Do you ever think about her?" Alina asked casually as we walked to the studio one morning. I froze mid-step, gripping my coffee cup tighter than necessary. "Every day," I admitted, voice low. "Not because I want to, but because she's everywhere. In headlines, in memories, in the shadows of everything I used to believe in." Alina nodded slowly, not judging. "That's normal. You loved her. You trusted her. Betrayal leaves scars. I scoffed, a bitter edge to my laugh. I feel like my whole chest was ripped out. "How do you call that a scar?" "A scar grows, heals differently," she said softly. "It doesn't disappear. It changes you, makes you stronger, smarter." I studied her. There was a gentleness there I hadn't noticed before. "And what about you? You seem untouchable. Perfect. I doubt anyone's ever hurt you." Elena's lips curved faintly, but her eyes flickered with something deeper. "Everyone has hurt me," she admitted. "Some scars aren't obvious. Some aren't even visible, but we all carry them." Her honesty startled me. You never talk about yourself. Not like this." "I choose carefully who sees the cracks," she said, eyes meeting mine steadily. "But I can tell you're ready. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for." "I feel stronger," I said quietly. "But the truth is, I spent months feeling powerless. Like everything Lara did defined me." "Not anymore," Elena said firmly. "You define yourself. You take what's yours, and you've started doing exactly that." Her words struck me like fire. I had been climbing slowly, strategically, building my presence. My reputation, every move calculated to reclaim the life I thought I lost. And now, beside Alina, I felt unstoppable. Later that week, during a shoot, I received a text from Lara. I didn't open it immediately. Part of me wanted the closure, the drama. Another part wanted to crush it without a second thought. Alina noticed my hesitation. "You're not going to respond, are you?" she asked softly. I shook my head. "Why should I?" She walked away. She made her choice. And now? She pressed, voice gentle but challenging. "Now I'm..." "Moving forward," I said firmly, thumbs hovering over her message before deleting it. "No distractions. No nostalgia. I don't need her approval or attention." Lena smiled faintly, pride in her eyes. That's the man I wanted to see. The next few days were a whirlwind. Calls from agents, interviews, project offers, all validating the path I had carved. Recognition arrived subtly at first, then unmistakably. People noticed talent, ambition, presence. I overtook Adrian, not with scandal or noise, but with quiet competence and strategic brilliance. "You're on fire," Lena said during a late-night editing session, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. You're taking everything that hurt you and turning it into power. I'm impressed. Learning, I admitted, and it's addictive. Every time I succeed, every time I see someone respect me, it feels like reclaiming a piece of myself I thought she stole. Good, she said softly, and I'm not just impressed professionally. I see the man you're becoming. Confident, decisive, unafraid. Her gaze held mine longer than necessary. I felt a thrill, a current between us that was no longer just professional. I cleared my throat. You make it hard to focus on work. Her lips twitched in amusement. Maybe I'm supposed to. I laughed, but it was genuine, light. I don't mind, I admitted. I don't mind at all. By the weekend, Lara had tried again emails, messages, even a friend reaching out indirectly. Each attempt, each desperate plea, only solidified my sense of control. I forwarded a single, polite message. I've moved on. Don't contact me again. Her silence after that was almost delicious. A quiet reminder that karma sometimes didn't need my hand, it simply worked itself out. Alina noticed my quiet satisfaction. You're smiling like you've won a silent war, she teased. I guess I have, I admitted, sipping my coffee. Not by confronting her. Not by drama. By building a life she can't touch. By proving to myself I'm bigger than her betrayal. She leaned closer, voice low. "I'm bigger than Adrian too?" I smirked. That too. Seeing them flounder while I thrive? It's almost poetic. Lena's fingers brushed mine casually. Almost. She teased. You're enjoying this way more than you should admit. Maybe I am, I said honestly. But I also feel alive, strong, in control. And it feels right. Her eyes held mine, approving and challenging all at once. Good, she said softly, because this is only the beginning. You're about to cross lines you didn't think you could, in life and in love. I nodded, heart pounding with excitement and anticipation. I had reclaimed myself, my pride, my ambition. And for the first time, I realized that Lara's betrayal had been the catalyst, not the cage. With Alina beside me, I felt ready for whatever came next. Power, recognition, and perhaps even something deeper awaited. And I wasn't afraid anymore. Can you believe this? Alina asked, glancing at her phone as we walked through the lobby of the hotel. I leaned over. A headline screamed, Lara's latest film flops amid backlash over scandalous affair with Adrian. I think, karma's finally catching up, I said quietly, a strange satisfaction curling in my chest. Alina smirked. Not that you needed to do anything, just living your life was enough. I nodded, sipping my coffee. It's strange. I expected to feel triumphant, but it's more. Calm, quiet, satisfying without being loud. Growth, she said softly. You're learning how to win without burning bridge. You're sword-lighting fires you can't control. I guess that's what it feels like, I admitted. I used to want revenge, to make her pay. Now, I just watch and move forward. She raised an eyebrow. You're enjoying this too much to be subtle, aren't you? Maybe a little, I said, smirking. But it's not about her anymore. It's about me. And what I've built. The phone buzzed again. Another headline. Adrian's arrogance leads to on-set scandal, public condemnation ensues. I groaned. I can't say I'm surprised. He always thought the rules didn't apply to him. You? You played it smart, Alina said, walking beside me, fingers brushing mine lightly. Focused on work, skill, presence. That's why people respect you. That's why they follow you. I chuckled, a quiet, private laugh. And here I thought the world was cruel and unfair. Turns out, sometimes it balances itself. Later that evening, Alina and I prepared for the premiere. I straightened my tie, catching my reflection in the mirror. You know, I said, voice low, I almost don't recognize myself anymore. The man staring back, he's confident, calm, Not afraid of the spotlight. Not afraid of people like Laura or Adrian. Alina, I added, turning to her as she adjusted her dress, thank you. For pushing me. For showing me I could be more than the guy they left behind. She smiled, eyes soft but steady. You had it in you all along. I just reminded you. The red carpet was a blur of flashes and cameras. Fans shouted, reporters called, and I felt that strange mix of adrenaline and calm I hadn't known I could carry. Alina stayed close, hand brushing mine occasionally, grounding me. See? This is yours, she said, voice low. Own it. You've earned it. I nodded, taking a deep breath. I have. And it feels right, a reporter approached. How does it feel to be the star of the season? Everyone's talking about your rise, your talent, your presence, your resilience. I smiled, steady, measured. It's been a journey. I've had setbacks, lessons, heartbreak, but every step brought me here, and I'm grateful for all of it, another reporter asked. What about your relationship with Alina? People say you two are unstoppable together, professionally and personally. What's the secret? I glanced at her, hand lightly brushing hers. The secret. Mutual respect, trust, and pushing each other to be better every single day. That's all that matters. Alina's smile deepened, approving, warm. I felt a quiet surge of pride, not for recognition, but for the life we had built together. Later, after the applause and photos, I found a quiet corner. My phone buzzed again. A headline caught my eye. Laura's reputation crumbles. Industry questions her choices. I smiled faintly, fingers tapping the phone lightly. She wanted the world to envy her. Now, she's learning the hard way that actions have consequences. Alina leaned closer. And you? You've done what she never could. Stayed focused. Stayed true. And now, look at you. I nodded slowly. It's more than revenge. It's validation. Proof that I'm bigger than the pain she caused. That I'm stronger than I ever imagined. Her hand brushed mine again, lingering. And that, you can love again, freely, without fear. I swallowed, heart tight but steady. I think I'm ready. For life, for success, and maybe for something more. She smiled knowingly. Good. Because the world's just starting to notice what you're capable of. And the best part? You're doing it on your own terms. I looked back at the flashing lights, the crowd, the cameras, and then at Alina. You know, I said quietly, never wanted the spotlight for revenge. I wanted it for myself. And now, I finally have it. And it feels mine. She squeezed my hand. It's yours. Always was. And it always will be, as long as you remember who you are. I exhaled slowly, letting the tension of months dissolve. Watching Laura flounder, seeing Adrian's arrogance crumble. It was gratifying, yes? But the real victory was mine self-worth, confidence, and the life I was building with Alina ready. She asked, voice soft but teasing. As I'll ever be, I said, a small, victorious smile playing on my lips. And for the first time in months, it felt complete, balanced. Powerful karma had done its work. I didn't need to lift a finger. I simply lived and in living. I had reclaimed everything that mattered. CHP.8 Alina. I said, brushing a strand of hair from her face as we stepped onto the terrace, the city lights sprawling below us. Do you realize what we're about to do? She tilted her head, eyes sparkling. You mean announce our relationship? I nodded slowly, heart thudding. Yeah, publicly. The world will know. And I feel ready. More than I ever thought I could. You've earned it, she said softly, her hand finding mine. You fought for yourself, rebuilt your life, your reputation. And now, you can claim your happiness. I smiled faintly. Funny. A few months ago, I couldn't even picture happiness without her. Without Laura, I thought my world was over when she left. Alina squeezed my hand gently. She left for her own reasons, not because you weren't enough. You were. You still are. And now, the right person is here, beside you. I took a deep breath, remembering the months of heartbreak, the humiliation, the silent anger that had fueled me. You know, her betrayal was like a storm I never expected. I thought it destroyed me. But it didn't. It made me. I paused, searching for the word. Stronger, smarter, unstoppable even. Elena's lips curved in approval. I noticed the man I met months ago, he was broken, unsure. The man here, he's confident, magnetic, and finally free. We walked to the gala entrance, where photographers and reporters waited. Flashbulbs popped instantly. I smiled, feeling the adrenaline pulse through me. Elena and I are proud to announce that we're not just collaborators, but partners in life as well. I said into the microphone, voice steady, calm. We've learned from the past, we've built something together, and we're excited to share it with everyone. Cheers erupted. Cameras clicked. I glanced at Elena, her eyes bright, proud. You did that beautifully, she whispered. You make it easy, I replied, brushing my thumb across her hand. Later, away from the crowd, she laughed softly. You know, I think we just made some people jealous, I chuckled. Let them. I don't need anyone's validation anymore. Especially hers. Elena raised an eyebrow. Yours, Lara's? I laughed, low and full of satisfaction. She tried to define me, control me, humiliate me. But I've reclaimed everything. My life, my pride, my future, and you're part of it now. I don't feel a thing for her anymore. Only respect for the lessons she unintentionally taught me. She leaned closer, voice teasing. So, the girl who abandoned you inadvertently led you to me? Exactly, I said with a grin. Irony has a strange way of working. We found a quiet corner on the balcony, the hum of the city below. I took her hand, turning to face her fully. I want to be honest, I said, voice soft. This isn't just attraction. I've learned the difference between fleeting desire and something real, something meaningful. And with you, I feel it completely. Her eyes softened, a mixture of emotion and approval. I feel the same. And I've seen your strength not just in public, but in private. You've grown into a man who deserves trust, love, and partnership. And I trust you. I swallowed, heart tight. Then let's promise each other something. That we'll always be honest, always respect each other, no matter what. That we'll build together, not just take. She nodded, brushing her thumb across my cheek. I promise. Always. I leaned in, resting my forehead against hers. And I promise you the same. No games, no shadows from the past. Just us, moving forward. She smiled faintly, eyes closing. I liked the sound of that. I took a deep breath, savoring the moment. Months of anger, humiliation, and heartbreak had led to this. Peace. Fulfillment. A sense of self I never thought I'd reclaim so fully. And beside me stood Elena Smart, confident, alluring, but more than that. A partner, a confidant, someone who made every day brighter without trying to overshadow me, you know? I whispered, voice low. I think I finally understand something. Life isn't about revenge or proving people wrong. It's about finding the right people, building the right moments, and claiming your own happiness. Not stealing it from someone else. Just making it yours. She pressed her hand to mine. Exactly. And you've done just that. I smiled, heartful, finally free from the shadows of the past. Lara's betrayal had been painful, yes, but it had propelled me to this life. To this strength, to this love. I leaned closer, resting my chin lightly on her shoulder. Here's to us. A life reclaimed. Together. She laughed softly, warm and content. Together, and for the first time, I truly believed it. I had reclaimed everything I lost: my pride, my career, my heart, and I was finally at peace. I spotted her across the lobby, Lara, standing awkwardly near the elevators, eyes scanning for recognition. My chest tightened for a fraction of a second, then relaxed. I had rehearsed this moment mentally 1,000 times. Now, it was just reality. Hey, she said softly, approaching voice uncertain. I wanted to talk. Can we? I held up a hand, smiling faintly. Calm, composed. Lara, it's fine, but let's keep it brief. She nodded, swallowing hard. I'm sorry. For everything. For leaving you. For hurting you. I said gently, but firmly. I've heard enough apologies. I know what you did. I know the choices you made, and I understand why. Ambition, desire, ego. You acted for yourself. That's on you. Her eyes widened slightly. You're not angry? I shook my head. I was once. For months. But anger doesn't suit me anymore. I've moved past it. Not because I forgive you, but because I've built something better than dwelling on the past could ever give me. She hesitated, searching my expression. And Adrian? Did he? I cut her off gently. I don't care anymore. Karma has a way of balancing things, doesn't it? You face the consequences of your own choices. I don't need to interfere. Her lips pressed together. I thought I'd lost you forever. And maybe I did. She did, I said quietly, watching her struggle with her own realization. And you'll realize one day that you lost more than you could ever measure. But it's not my burden to dwell on that. It's yours. She looked down, guilt flickering in her eyes. I just wanted a chance to say I'm sorry, to make it right. I smiled softly, a hint of compassion in my gaze. Making it right? That ship sailed months ago. I've reclaimed my life, my career, my pride. I don't need validation from you or anyone else. And neither do you, if you ever truly learn from this. She nodded, words failing her. The tension in the air felt like a final exhale closure, unspoken, but undeniable, I hope. I hope you're happy now, she whispered. I am, I said simply. And I hope you find your own version of peace too, Lara. Just not at my expense. She lingered a moment longer, then turned and walked away. I watched her go, feeling nothing. Not anger, not longing, not regret. Just calm. Alina appeared beside me, her hand brushing mine. That was impressive, she said softly. Composed, kind, and strong. You've truly moved on. I smiled, entwining my fingers with hers. It wasn't easy, but I realized I don't need revenge to feel victory. I only needed to reclaim myself. And now, I have. Her eyes sparkled. And us? This everything we've built together? It's real, I said, squeezing her hand gently. Professional success, personal growth, and love that doesn't rely on manipulation or fear. I found balance, Elena, with you. She laughed softly, leaning close. I like the sound of that. Finally, no shadows from the past haunting us. Exactly, I replied. We faced heartbreak, betrayal, humiliation, and came out stronger. I've learned the true value of patience, of resilience. Karma didn't need me to act. It worked itself out, and I grew in the process. A soft breeze blew through the lobby, carrying with it a sense of freedom. I felt lighter than I had in years. The weight of Lara's betrayal, of Adrian's arrogance, of public scrutiny, was gone. I had survived, adapted, and thrived. We walked toward the elevators, side by side, hands intertwined. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted, but I ignored them. The world could watch, could gossip, could speculate. I didn't care. My life was mine, Elena's, and mine together, you know? I said, glancing at her. I never thought heartbreak could lead to something this complete, but it did. And I'm grateful for the pain, for the lessons, and for you. She smiled, brushing a strand of hair from my face. And I'm grateful for you. For your strength, your patience, for letting me be part of your life. I took a deep breath, feeling a sense of fulfillment settle deep in my chest. The past was behind me. The present was ours. And the future, well, the future was bright, limitless, and entirely ours to shape. Ready? I asked, voice light, steady. Always, she replied, smiling, and together we stepped forward. Into the lights, into the world, into the life we had fought for, stronger, wiser, and undeniably unshakable. No bitterness, no regrets. Only growth, love, and a life reclaimed.